Hello, welcome to Tea Time to You with head coach Darby Rogo of the Tiffin University men's golf team. I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons. We're broadcasting to you live today from Shell Shuckers Restaurant here in Tiffin, corner of State Routes 53 and 224. I'm sitting right next to head coach of the men's golf program, Darby Rogo. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
You know what, man? Each day that we've done this program here over the last couple of weeks, the weather's getting better and better. Golf courses are opening now, and the weather outside is
This is great.
Low 60s, perfect.
I mean, it's nice to see the sunshine. It's nice to see grass. It's nice to be able to go out and practice outside. It's been a great start to the week. The Indians won yesterday.
Yeah, congratulations, Tribe fan.
So,
we'll talk a little bit about baseball.
It's so far so good.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about professional baseball, with yesterday being the true opening day. I mean, they started in Australia, which I don't really understand that myself. We'll talk PGA Tour. We're a week away from the Masters. Got a big Shell Houston Open coming up this weekend. We'll talk about last weekend's event as well. We'll talk about some of the cool things happening on campus with athletics. And if you'd like more information on athletics at Tiffin University, go to www.gotiffindragons.com. If you'd like more information on Tiffin University, go to www.tiffin.edu. Well, a week off for your kids.
We did have the week off, yes. Well, as far as tournaments.
As far as tournaments are
still
concerned.
Practicing
Yeah.
and still doing the things we need to do to get ready for this weekend at Elks Run, but we did not have a tournament last weekend.
That's why I was going to ask, what do you do this week to get yourself prepared for your upcoming event this coming weekend?
Well, the nice thing is we're able to get outside.
Exactly.
We've spent, since we've gotten home from our travels early in the season, we've spent a lot of days inside, and it's frustrating. But now we've been able to go outside. We had a good practice yesterday. We'll have another good one today. I know we will. Like I said, golf course is being open. The sun is out. The guys are excited. Just looking ready. Do whatever we can to get ready for this weekend, and really excited. It's a regional event, so we need to play well. As we've talked in the past, at the regionals, the goal is always a top 5 finish. This year, it's very important, as again, we're right on the bubble in terms of NCAA postseason. Even though we started out the spring very well, we need some good head-to-head wins this weekend.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how it all works out for your student athletes for getting to nationals. And you talk about how important it is in the regionals to finish in the top 5. Why specifically is that?
Well, a part of it is it's head-to-head competition. I am a region rater, and as a rater, what we look at are the top 10 teams in our region. There are over 30 teams in our region now, and what we need to be able to do is determine who the best 10 teams are. And the easiest way to do that is looking at head-to-head competition, head-to-head versus common opponents, strength of schedule. There's 5 or 6 things that go in there in terms of criteria, but the first is, when you play against everyone else, where do you finish?
Yeah.
And for us, our goal is always a top 5, no matter what tournament we go to. I feel any event we play in, we should be able to be one of the top 5 teams there. Obviously, we're playing to win, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure we put ourselves in a position that our results speak for themselves. And so this weekend, a top 5 finish would give us head-to-head victories against teams that we need to beat.
And then there's also other Midwest regionals as well the following weekend. How does that determine national stuff, national seedings, national tournament? Is it the same thing as this regional?
Exactly the same thing.
Okay.
It'd be basically the same schools. Again, it's just another opportunity to play head-to-head against teams within our region to prove who the best 10 teams are. In the fall, we did not play well in the regional at Harborside. We finished outside the top 10, which is not what we want to do. But within the GLIAC, we've had some good wins. We had some good results in other non-conference events. So it's not that we're playing poorly. We just need to start beating teams that are ranked ahead of us right now within the region, and we have the opportunity the next 2 weekends to do that.
Well, you brought up the GLIAC conference, and there's plenty of GLIAC schools littered across the top 25 national rankings, even in the others receiving votes. You got the Spring Invitational coming up on Easter weekend, actually. Right. So, 4 real big weeks. The rest of this month of April is going to be huge for your kids as you work your way into May when the Super Regionals begin.
Right. I mean, obviously we're getting down into our home stretch, and that's why it's important that the weather started to turn for us, and it's gotten nice out because we're heading into 3 straight weekends of very important head-to-head play. I mean, obviously, we're going to see all the GLIAC teams. We're going to see all the GLVC teams the next 2 weekends. There'll be some GMAC teams there as well. Right now, we sit in a good position against that conference. But what we need to do is take care of our own business, play the way we're capable of playing, play well, and let things fall where they may going into that last spring event, which is the GLIAC Spring Invitational, which is just GLIAC schools. My goal is that event, in a sense, won't matter in terms of what we need to do for postseason. If we do really well these next 2 weekends, we'll put ourselves in a position where we're locked in. We can use that as an event to prepare ourselves for the Super Regional in Missouri.
Well, one of the questions that was posed to us from one of our viewers, Rick from Gibsonburg. I don't think he saw earlier in our programs, we talked about the GLIAC conference and where the strengths were, but he had posed a question, wanted to know, besides the Dragons, where the strengths are in the GLIAC conference. So why don't we go ahead and address that again for our listeners?
Well, it's a very good question. As we've talked before, the GLIAC conference, in my opinion, is one of the best Division II golf conferences in the country because there's very little parity. You have some, when you get down south and you get out west, yes, they are excellent golf programs down south and out west. There's no question about it. Look at the top 25 rankings. But week in and week out, we beat each other up. I mean, anybody has a chance to win an event. Saginaw Valley State, who last year did not make the Super Regional, has had a great year thus far. Wayne State is always strong. Grand Valley is always strong. Ferris State is always strong. We want to be in that conversation when people say we're the best teams in the conference. We want our name to be mentioned.
Sure.
Well, it's about consistency, and it's about doing your job. And this year, there's been so many good teams and so many good young players that, if you don't have a good weekend, you could be in trouble. I mean, the first GLIAC event of the fall, we finished third. Saginaw Valley wins the event. Malone finishes second. We finished third. The following weekend is the GLIAC Championship. We finished ninth against the same exact schools because we had one bad round. You don't want to have a bad day in the GLIAC because when you do, you could go from third to ninth, and that's not where you want to be. So, I mean, there's a lot of good teams. Malone is obviously up top right now. Grand Valley won last weekend at an invitational in Otter Creek where there were some GLIAC and GLVC schools participating. So earlier in the year, we beat Ashland in Myrtle Beach. They finished tied for second with Lewis at Otter Creek. So each and every weekend, it's a toss-up. If you have 4 guys play well 2 days in a row out of your 5, you have a good chance of competing against everybody and winning.
Well, you brought up Grand Valley State, and I have to ask you because that's one of my favorite places to go do a football game. They have a beautiful facility there. They have a gorgeous-looking golf course that wraps around their football field there. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well,
place.
The golf course is actually hosting the national championship this year.
They've done that in the past,
yes,
too, I
they
believe,
have.
right?
I think they've hosted 11 national championships or something between the men and the women. The golf course is beautiful. It is located on their golf course. I found out that the golf course is independent of the institution. Now, it is part of the institution, but it does not receive operating dollars from the university. It runs independently of its own. Don Underwood, who is the head coach at Grand Valley, good friend, great guy, he is the head professional there, and his job to make sure the golf course runs. The Meadows is the name of it. It is a fabulous golf course, very difficult. A lot of high rough, some heather, link-style setup, and it's a lot of fun to play. We've played there handful of times, and hopefully we can say that we're going to play there this spring at the national championship.
Well, I'm hoping to get a chance to play it in November when I go out there for a football game. I'm hoping to see if I can possibly get on the course. It's a fun
I'm sure
place
we
to go
can help you somehow with that.
I might have to lean on you there a little bit. So let's talk about some other. Yeah, you do. Let's talk about some of the other athletics going on here on campus. The men's and women's golf teams are both underway, and we're going to have head coach Blake DeBrain going to come on and do a little trivia challenge with Darby here in a few minutes on the program. Here we're going to new segment we're going to add to the program. We're going to give a little bit of 3 trivia questions. We could add a couple as we go, but about the upcoming PGA Tour event. And this weekend is the Shell Houston Open. We got 3 questions about that. Next week will be fun. I'm sure we'll go talk a lot next week about the Masters.
I can't wait. It's that time of the year, and the Masters tournament obviously is the pinnacle of the golf season for a lot of fans, myself included. I'm looking forward to really talking about that in the next couple weeks.
Well, we got to say congratulations to Michelle Holman of the Tiffany University Equestrian Program. She placed 4th out of 16 riders at the IHSA National Semifinals held at the University of Findlay's Western Farm, and she has earned herself a spot in the Nationals, so that's pretty fantastic.
I mean, it's just another wonderful accolade for our Tiffany University student athletes. The equestrian program has done very well over the years. It's one of our stronger programs, and so to see another student athlete qualify for a national tournament appearance, I mean, hats off. That's great.
Seems like it's happening more and more often, doesn't it, with these student athletes?
Our athletic program is doing so many great things, and we just want to keep moving in that direction. Hopefully the golf program can, continue to work hard and represent the university well.
I'm sure you will. Tiffany University women's lacrosse team got their second win of the season this week, a 16-9 victory over McKendree. They lost a lot last year with Holly Quast, maybe the best player in Division II around the country. And, a little bit of a struggle so far this year, but starting to pick it up a little bit and got their second win of the year.
Well, I think it's what we talked about. When you lose arguably the best offensive player to ever play Division II lacrosse,
It's tough to
things
replace.
things are going to be different. I mean,
Yeah.
it's ask the Chicago Bulls what it was like that first year without Michael Jordan, but we talked about it. Erica Brown runs a fabulous program. A lot of young, talented young women on the team. And I said it was only a matter of time before they catch their stride. 16 goals. It's a matter of finding the offense.
Yeah.
They don't have to lean on someone like they did last year. I mean, honestly, when the games got close, it was like, look, just get the ball into Allie's hands and let her do her thing. Well, now there's more of a team base, and then not taking anything away from they had last year, but now there's not that one person they have to rely on. They have a lot of good players, and I think everyone's just finding their stride, and she's doing a great job with them.
Yeah, and the Tiffany University softball program just recently split a doubleheader with the University of Findlay. But Lady Dragons 3-1 in conference play and 13-6 overall. They're off to a real nice start.
Jeff Nickerson runs one of the best programs in Division II athletics. I mean, he's got great, hardworking kids. He and Mel have done everything they can to get this team ready. I love that they're doing well in conference because that's really what it comes down to. And I got to, like I said, got to see a game. The pitching looks great. The hitting looks great. The more reps they get, the better they're going to be.
Well, we also are big baseball guys, and the Dragons they're playing Grand Valley State at home right now. Oh, actually, the game will be starting in just a few minutes. But yesterday, they split a doubleheader with Grand Valley. We got the first game won 7-4. Second game, Grand Valley came out, kind of flexed their muscles, got up 9-0. But what I like to see is the Dragons battled back from a 9-0 deficit in game 2 and got it to 9-8 before falling to a nationally ranked program.
Well, Grand Valley State, one of the strongest institutions across the board athletically. Their baseball team nationally ranked, and Joe Wilkins and his guys came out, punched them right in the mouth, start off 7-4 to get that first win. Grand Valley comes back and says, "Hey, we're not going to be pushed around." But then the Dragons, they didn't back down, and and that's a testament to Joe and to Jimmy and the coaching staff that when baseball is a game. It's not like basketball where it's a game of runs where everybody's going to have that 5 or 6 run spurt. Baseball, you get down 9 runs, it can be pretty deflating, but the Dragons didn't back down. They almost came back. They're playing again today. It's going to be an exciting weekend for these guys.
Talk about a character-building loss, to come back like that. And, Grand Valley State, their head baseball coach is from Tiffin, Ohio right here. Jamie DeTillion went to high school right here in Tiffin and played at Ashland. So good to see, another local guy doing well. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Blake DeBrain's women's golf team as well. They've had a couple of events under their belt here in March as they get ready for April, and you can mention some more about the women's team with him when you battle him in our trivia challenge today, but it was always great to see them getting back on the links as well.
Well, like I said, Blake is doing a great job with the ladies, and they're fighting a little uphill battle because they're so young, and the GLIAC in the region it's so strong, and I know that he's and the ladies are working hard. The results aren't what they want them to be at this moment, but we talked this morning about it. It's a journey for them. It's not going to be an immediate thing. Golf is not an easy game, and when you are competing against teams like in your region that are ranked nationally, and with freshmen and only one or two upperclassmen, you're going to take your knocks. But the young ladies, once they learn a little bit more better course management and learn to stop making big numbers, I think that they're going to be able to score better. That's going to improve their confidence. Confidence breeds success, and so on and so forth. And so he's doing everything he can to help them. I know he's recruiting, and the program's only got one direction to go, and that's up, and he's doing a great job.
Well, you talk about golf being a difficult game, and Valero Texas Open over the weekend on the PGA Tour. Stephen Bowditch, 4 over on the final day, but still able to get a one-stroke victory with a final score of 280 and 8 under par.
If this weekend one of our guys shoots 76 and still wins the tournament, I will take it, just like Stephen Bowditch did. I mean, here's a guy who was ranked 339th in the world. We've talked every week about the PGA Tour and the young talent, and coming out of nowhere, this guy's 30 years old, has only 2 top 10s in his career, won 109 events without winning a tournament, has spent a decade battling clinical depression, and then in the Texas Valero Open, which is a great event, comes out and holds off some of the best players in the world and gets his first win. I mean, is there a better story to be written?
Well, could you imagine competing at that level, battling a disease like depression? I mean, they were talking about it during Sunday's round where there was times he couldn't get out of his car in a parking lot because it would bring him to tears, knowing what he's going to have to face out there on the course, and be able to overcome that and become a spokesperson in Australia, his native country, on depression, and now become a champion. That's just fantastic.
I mean, what a great story, and what a great job by Stephen Bowditch. To overcome, golf is a part of his life. To overcome all of those other obstacles, I mean, just an amazing story, and so excited for him because this win, not only does it help his wallet, but he's going to get to play in the Masters. This secured him a spot to play at Augusta
He's in all the
National.
majors now this year.
He's
right?
in all the majors. that's what you want. I mean, 30 years old, you've been fighting this, you know, through your 20s. The game is not easy to begin with, and then to have that on top of it, but to come out on top last weekend, I think what a great story, and I wish him nothing but success.
Yeah, it's a fantastic story, and he'll be able to compete in the major. That's what's nice about winning early in the season. You know, if you win after the Masters, it's
Right.
done. So that's what's great about winning early
Yeah,
in the season.
let's
You get
talk
all
about it. The
majors.
Masters is what all the young guys want to play in,
Sure.
and that's the event. I mean, to be able to be on the grounds and to be a part of the pageantry that is that tournament. I mean, I can't imagine anyone turning down or not saying that wouldn't be the highlight of their career. And so the manner in which he earned his
Yes,
way
that's true.
into the event. You know, now when he gets there in 2 weeks, it's going to be nothing but fun for him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
he's going to enjoy it. And I hope he plays well. I mean, who knows? With the way things have been going this year, with Tiger and Phil both battling injuries,
Mm-hmm.
with the potential neither of them may be in the event. I mean, this match is
wide
going to be
open
wide
field.
open. It's
Wide
going to be
open
so
field.
much fun to watch. It always is. They run everything great there.
Well, Shell Houston opens this weekend. They're staying in Texas with nice weather this time of year, and they'll be playing at the Golf Club of Houston, the tournament course, right outside, I believe, of Dallas at Humboldt, Texas. So it's always a great event as well, and that's where we're going to ask you some trivia questions about that
Well,
event.
I'll do what I can. I don't know a lot about the event other than it always has a great field. It's always very well run. I know that in the past it was one of the premier events. It's a great event prior to Augusta National because it does get such a good field, and there's guys fighting to that last
Yeah.
chance to get
Yep.
in. And so, you know, it was always very competitive. Ryan Cossack, who's a former player of mine, who works for the Northern Texas PGA, I know that he'll be involved with helping operate this event. So, and it's kind of a neat and exciting thing for Dragons Golf because this is a big weekend for a lot of players, and to have one of my alumni kind of attached to it makes it even better.
Yeah, he's a big donator to the university
He's
as well. I
big,
actually
big.
spoke to him recently through the development office.
Ryan is great. He and his family single-handedly helped establish the Kyle Ryman Memorial Scholarship. He and Kyle were great friends. They played together, and I owe the Cossack family and Ryan and his mom, Martin and Debbie, his mom and dad, Martin and Debbie, so much because they helped me through my early years of coaching. Ryan was in that sophomore when I took over the program, so that family means so much to me, and so to see him be successful and then obviously for him to give back is just awesome.
Yeah, that's a great story. Well, the LPGA Tour back in it this weekend as well. They'll be at the Kraft Nabisco Championships at the Dinah Shore Tournament course out in California. And, the LPGA golf is nothing short of fantastic.
Oh,
anymore
my
either.
gosh. You know, there's so many good players, and this being a major for them, this is a great big weekend for the LPGA. So many good, young, talented players. You know, we know who most of them are, but, you know, the Jessica Cordas and the Michelle Wees and the Natalie Galbus, you know, the Morgan Pressel and Paula Creamer. I mean, the very familiar names.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be some great play out there this weekend. It'd be interesting to see who comes out on top because, much like the men's side of things, there isn't one clear-cut person.
Sure.
It wasn't when Annika played. You knew Annika was
Yeah.
going to win, and they went through those years where it was one player that you could really say, this is probably who's going to win, who's going to fight for second. Now there's so many good players that it's every weekend is a toss-up.
Yeah, and there's so many good players from all over the world.
All
Golf
over the
has
world.
become such a global game on both the men's and the women's and juniors, everything. It's wonderful to see. Well, we mentioned Major League Baseball season. True opening day was yesterday, and you must have stayed up later than I did because I didn't see the Indians win. I think I went to bed in like the 8th inning.
Tribe's in first place. That's all that matters. I'm excited. You know, they a great team win yesterday for them. I'm looking forward to, you know, as a big Tribe fan, I'm looking forward to a great season. But Major League Baseball is back. I am so excited. I mean, this is my favorite time of the year. It's kind of like my Christmas, my Easter, my Thanksgiving, all wrapped up in one. The Masters is around the corner. Baseball is starting. The NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. I mean, this is my favorite. And then March Madness.
Yeah.
And I can't forget about that. My bracket is garbage. My
So is
Final
mine.
Four is a waste.
So.
But, you know, this time of year, there's so many great things going on, and it's just I couldn't be happier with that. The sun is out, and I'm
Well,
with you. I mean, it doesn't
After
get
the
any
winter
better.
we had, yesterday with the start of baseball season and the weather, I didn't watch as much as I planned on because the weather was so nice. I spent the
You
day
went
outside with the
outside.
kids. Yeah. So just, the baseball season starting and the weather turning and everything, it really does feel like spring. And, spring,
great.
hope turns spring. How's it go? Hope,
Spring showers,
yeah.
flowers, sunshine. I don't know.
Hope
It's just
spring's
been great.
eternal.
I'm so excited.
That's what
You know,
it is, yeah.
I stopped by Varsity, got my hair cut. I mean, it's
There you
just I
go.
couldn't ask for a better start to the spring season.
Well, you mentioned NBA playoffs right around the corner, like less than 10 games going on before the playoff. Miami's hitting their stride. Indiana's kind of falling back a little bit. But San Antonio, 18 straight wins. They went to Indiana and just hammered them last night.
I love watching the San Antonio Spurs play because they, to me, are the last true basketball team.
Yeah.
Every one of those guys knows what their job is. Greg Popovich has been successful for years. I hope they're not peaking too early. The Western Conference is so good. It is so good on the Western side of things. It's probably a 2-3 team race on the East. You know, the team that's played really well all year and no one's paid attention to is the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
I don't want to play them in the playoffs if I'm Miami or Indiana.
Well, Miami, is 14-0 now against Toronto since the Big Three got together?
It's the Big Three. You know, that's Chris Bosh is doing his job. But, you know, they've quietly put themselves in the third position in the East. The West, I mean, the Thunder, the Spurs, it's just so good. The Clippers are so good.
Yeah.
And I still think that the Miami Heat are the team to beat.
Yeah.
You know, I like that the Pacers are strong. I don't know if they peaked too early in the season because they're, 8-9 in this month or 8-10, so they've struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
They still have only lost 5 times at home all year.
Yeah.
So in the playoffs, I think they'll be okay. But NBA playoffs, NHL hockey, March Madness, Major League Baseball. I mean, does it get any better? It doesn't.
No. Who you root for in hockey? Who you're in NHL?
Well,
fan
you
of?
know, I like the Red Wings. But if you don't like Sidney Crosby, I don't know, why even bother watching the game. The guy is so good. The other night against the Blackhawks, what a great game. He looks so good, and they picked up the win. I know Corey Martinez very happy. He's a huge Penguins fan, and he loves Sid the Kid, and it's probably why I like him because I want to make Corey happy. But the Red Wings are probably the team because they're the closest for me. But I love to see the Blue Jackets playing well as well.
Me too. Well, I think it's trivia time. So I'll invite Blake DeBrain over here. We have
embarrass me.
multiple choice questions.
Oh,
we'll
boy.
keep a running total. It'll be Darby against our guest. So I've told Blake it'll be him most of the time.
Okay.
But if somebody else wants to sit in, we'll keep a running total. So we'll have to figure out some kind of prize, maybe dinner for two here at lovely Shell Shuckers.
I love it.
For the champion. But let's go ahead and step aside real quick. We'll bring back Blake DeBrain. We'll read it to everybody what the trivia questions are. You guys can give your answers, and I'll let you know who's right and wrong.
Sounds good to me, right?
All right, stick around. We'll be right back with head coach of the women's team, Blake DeBrain, and Darby Rogo to answer some questions.
All right, welcome back to Tea Time TU. I'm head coach Darby Rogo, joined today by our women's golf coach, Blake DeBrain. How are you, sir?
Not too bad. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So Russ has created some trivia for us. I will read the questions. We'll allow you to answer first. I'll give my answer, and at the end of the day, we're going to find out who can get the most right. So you ready to begin?
Let's go.
All right. First question. What game-changing club was first carried in a winning bag at the Houston Open? The winner was Ron Streak. So the potential answers are A, graphite shafted driver, B, a hybrid, or C, a metalwood.
I'm going to go with C, the metalwood.
Okay, so the first game-changing club in a winning bag at the Houston Open, you're saying metalwood. I am going to say the same. I'm going to agree. I'm going to say C, metalwood. And we're getting the thumbs up from Russ. We are both correct, so it's 1-1. All right, good. Whew. I was a little nervous there. I knew it wasn't the hybrid because they haven't been around long enough.
That's what I thought too. And that
1981 was the year, according to Russ. And I don't know about you, buddy, but I don't know who Ron Streak is. So I figured it had to be a while ago. All right, question number 2, tied 1-1. What year did the Houston Open debut as the Tournament of Champions? The winner was Byron Nelson with a 2-shot victory over Ben Hogan. A, 1944, B, 1946, or C, 1948.
I have no idea on this one.
You weren't even thought about being born yet.
Far before my time. I'm going to go with B, 1946.
Pretty safe guess there in the middle of 1946. I'm going to go different than you. The Tournament of Champions won by Byron Nelson over Ben Hogan. I'm going to say 1948 C. It looks like
That's a good guess.
Blake
there.
was correct, and he is up 2-1. Russ gave me the thumbs down, vehemently, I might add. So the answer was C, 1948. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, B, 1946. I'm so excited I thought I got another one right. So Blake now leads 2-1, going into our third and final question. Which of these golfers does not share the PGA Shell Houston Open overall scoring record of 66? A, Curtis Strange, B, Lee Trevino, or C, Stuart Appleby?
I'm going to go with A, Curtis Strange. I know Lee Trevino and Stuart Appleby were both amazing players, and they were able to put up extremely low numbers in this tournament. So I'm going to go with A, Curtis Strange.
I'm actually going to say C, Stuart Appleby. I remember he shot the 59
That's
in
what I
West
was going
Virginia, but I don't remember him ever shooting 66 at the Shell Houston Open. So I'm going to go opposite of you and say C. And I was correct, so we are tied now. 2-2. The answer was C, Stuart Appleby. So after 1 week of trivia, we both are tied at 2-1.
Looks like the next few weeks are going to be...
Next weeks are going to be exciting.
They are.
All right, well, we'll be right back with Russ and more TU. Tee it up to you.
Well, welcome back to Tea Time TU with head coach Darby Rogo. Well, as our first trivia segment, I do okay putting the questions
You
together?
did. Those were very good questions. I was surprised I got any of them right.
Yeah, the first one I thought, the metal wood kind of, I thought you guys would be able to get that one, but the Houston Open debuted as the tournament champions in the mid-40s. Any one of those dates would have fit, especially when you have Byron Nelson and Ben Hogan's name. But I knew the last one. Curtis Strange and Lee Trevino both shooting 66s, but Stuart Appleby was a winner of the event just a few years ago. So I'm like, that's a good name to throw in there.
Oh, it was a great one. If you'll notice, I pulled the old college I forgot to study. I just went with C with everything.
Yeah, there you go.
Everything, I just guessed C on all three, and hey, 2 out of 3 times it worked for me.
And next week we'll be doing Masters questions, so maybe we'll get a couple more in there. And because Masters, we talk about how it feels like spring. Kids are being able to get out on the golf course. You talk all the time about how much you love the Masters tournament and how you would. Love to get a chance to play there. Who wouldn't? Who's ever picked up a set of golf clubs? But just talk a little bit about from a fan standpoint what the Masters is.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's the biggest event of the year in terms of the major. In terms of pageantry, I mean, there are many who will argue that the U.S. Open is their favorite event because it's the most democratic of all the majors. You can argue the PGA Championship is a big deal because it's the only event run by the PGA of America, and it really is the catalyst of what golf, where it evolved from. The Open Championship, when you're over and you're playing the British Open, whether it's at St. Andrews or Carnoustie or any one of those great golf courses. I mean, obviously there's going to be some history because that's where the game was invented. But in terms of the fans themselves, the Masters, in a way, stands alone. It is one of the most beautiful golf courses in the world. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to be on the grounds there. The thing about it, Russ, is they do everything right.
Yeah.
When you walk onto the grounds of the Masters, you know that there's going to be a certain level of reverence by the fans. There's a certain level of respect. It's the anti-Waste Management Open. The Waste Management Open, 800,000 people in a matter of 4 days, but it's just a big party.
Yeah.
Where the Masters is more hallowed grounds. And what they do at Augusta National in terms of the way they run their club and the history of it, it's unmatched. And it's the only major that's always hosted at the exact same golf course. And I think that's what leads to it. And so, but the grass there, the smell of the air, the pine tree, everything about it, the history, it makes it what it is. And they do everything at the highest level. This year, they're hosting the little kids the week before for the chip putt and drive contest. I mean, they're always trying to grow golf. They're doing so many great things. I mean, it is what it is.
Even the par 3 that they do beforehand and everything. And I think you hit a good point with it being at the same place every time. Everybody knows Augusta National.
Correct.
You watch it, and all the golf courses look absolutely beautiful on the television. But Augusta, it looks just a little bit nicer, a little bit crisper.
It's phenomenal.
And I think it's because you have a familiarity.
Correct.
You've watched it. I remember watching the Masters as in grade school, elementary school, junior high school. And there's certain things that you remember. You may not think about it till you see it. Oh, I remember so-and-so hitting out of that spot, 4 years ago. Just little small things like that. And that doesn't come to you unless the course is played at the same place every year.
Correct. I mean, just, when Bubba Watson hit that miraculous shot out of the trees, they were talking about last year, the first thing that spectators did on Monday when the course up for the practice rounds, everyone was running over there to, and mimicking that shot and being in the woods. And, look at the attention the golf course received when the Eisenhower tree went down this year, and they've already replaced it. I mean, there's so much that goes into it, and good, bad, and otherwise. I just know this: the one opportunity I had to go there, it was an experience. It's exactly what I hoped it would be. There was no letdown whatsoever, and they don't mess around there. Everything is perfect. Everything is done, to a certain level of, and those expectations then lead to just a year in and year out sense of awesomeness.
Yeah. Well, it's coming up in 2 weeks, about a week and a half. The Shell Houston opens this weekend. The Masters the following. Make sure you clear out your weekend for some TV time with the family and take in one of golf's great spectacles that they do each and every year. Well, Coach, that's going to do it for the program. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Well, there's 2 locations. Obviously, you can find me on Twitter at DRogues. And then we have at TU Golf are the Twitter handles that I operate for the golf program and myself. And then also on Facebook, Tiffin Golf is on Facebook as well. You can always go to gotiffindragons.com to find out the latest information and watch our show on the Tiffin University Athletic website. I mean, other than that, you just have to tune in each and every week with Russ and I and learn more about Tiffin athletics and the golf programs.
And you can post questions to Coach Rogo through those different sites he was talking about. You can follow me on Twitter at Tiffin_Russell. You can find me on Facebook as well, and you can always post your questions for Coach Rogo right there too. So we'll be back next week right here at Shell Shuckers Restaurant, located at the corner of State Routes 53 and 224 in Tiffin. Till then, hit them straight, make your putts. For Coach Rogo, I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons. Thank you so much for joining us for Tea Time to You with head coach Darby Rogel.